I'm calling in the creator to the CEO who crave creating community and cash to create it like a boss. With me, Katrina Julia, as your host, multi-passionate entrepreneur, creator, and CEO who has walked from fear to faith, self-hate to love, corporate to calling, and continues to, with experience in 7+ industries, 7,000 plus creators and startups, to creators to Fortune 500 brands, including Google, NBC, Victoria's Secret, and more. If you are ready to create it like never before in faith, wellness, wealth, marketing, business, travel, and more, this is the show for you. If this is your time to have freedom in all forms as you create it like a boss, let's create it. Welcome to my Creator to CEO Confessions and getting a little more personal and recapping January, which I coined January Joy because it really, really was an incredible month, especially when compared to how December deviated. If you've tuned into my show in the past, you know that I do these monthly recaps, and I definitely invite you to go back and re-listen to or listen to any of the others. And I started doing weekly recaps on my Instagram that gets repurposed on YouTube and other channels. And one, it helps me stay more aligned and consistent. And two, I noticed, so shout out to at Glow Graphics, because I noticed her doing it too. And it inspired me to take action and create it too. So let's get into the created creations and the creator to CEO confessions. So if this is your first time tuning in, I share different things on these confessions, from faith to wellness to wealth to marketing to business to travel to community, and sharing real talk and hashtag behind the scenes of a creator and CEO. So how did you feel about January, and how do you feel about 2024 so far? Mine is radically different than 2023 in so many different ways. My January brought joy in ways I didn't imagine. I aligned and experienced so much joy in countless ways. Last January, I was in Atlanta, which I still love Atlanta. It's near and dear to my soul. At the same time, I am not a fan of the cold in any way, shape, or form. And I definitely felt it last January. And I countered it with being accountable to things like Soul Cycle, the Home Depot backyard, interacting with community like ATL Girl Gang, and more. But at the same time, it was not easy for me at all. So to see how a year later things can be so radically different, and it's costing me a lot less. So I aligned and experienced so much joy. I started my month in Cyprus, you guys, my 37th plus country, near Kyrenia in North Cyprus, in a 2-story townhome Airbnb. If you haven't checked out my top 10 things to do in Cyprus on the blog, on the show, an incredibly amazing, if I do say so myself, because my videos have come a long, long, long way. Video that I just posted on Instagram recently. It's titled you Must Add This Country to Your Bucket List. And on the cover, it's something like, can you guess what this country is? Or this is not, and then it goes through, this is not Portugal, this is not Greece, etc. And shout out to at Visit North Cyprus, because they actually collaborated with me on it too. So I explored castles, monasteries, beaches, caves, almost 2 weeks with my mom. She flew on a direct flight also from Wizz Air, just like the one I took from Varna, and came and stayed with me almost 2 weeks. I saw a biblical site in Cyprus and ended the month in Egypt. I am recording this, you guys, in Egypt. I increased alignment to passion, purpose, priorities, and profits. I finished the Inner Child Workbook, Complex PTSD, which I highly recommend. I reached 2,000 minutes of workouts starting 2024, tracked on the Peloton workout app. My word for 2024 is worthy. And if you haven't listened to that episode yet, I invite you to do so, because I am not a betting woman from an aspect of gambling, like at a casino. When I've gambled at a casino, I've always set like a limit as in entertainment money. It's a whole nother topic. At the same time, I believe when we start focusing on worthy, so many things come up and give us insight into ways that we have devalued ourselves because we didn't believe we were worthy, whether it had to do with love, with money, with community, with family, with setting boundaries. And when you start to truly believe you're worthy, we show up different. And my alignment and abundance and action elevated exponentially yet again. It's so interesting. Like, right when I find, like, what I have come to realize is right when I think I'm at capacity for something, like, so many things will then shift to create a whole new level of capacity, as well as alignment and output and free time. I also completed Vision 2024 on the blog and on the show, reached over $2.4 million in proposals with business to business with ongoing brand work. Haven't received it yet. So that's in the works. It's out there. The action has been taken. And finished creating and launching Creator to Cash. If you haven't downloaded my Creator to Cash toolkit, definitely check that out. And Creator to Cash integrates so many amazing, juicy bonuses, you guys, like transformation toolkits with health, wealth, and business tools, like 7 ways to make 7K in 7 days, 15 plus videos, and so much more in the actual course experience. Or if you opt to do the VIP experience or the workbook, there's a workbook for a more budget friendly for the creators to CEOs. In completing my Vision 2024, I identified top priorities for 2024, including business to business with one-on-one clients with creator to CEO and CMO work, retreats and co-living. Definitely check out my retreats via www.fitlifecreation.com/retreats. And if you are a brand and you would love for me to co-create a retreat for your community to help them transform and travel, that is something that I may do to create it too. And then also the creator to CEO online experiences like Creator to Cash, Creator to CMO coming, Creator to CFO, Creator to COO, and Creator to CEO. And all of that with incredible online experiences coming in 2024. So to increase focus and save time, I am scaling the top 3 priorities with automation and delegation step by step. I revised and completed my scaling list for my virtual assistant for the start of 2024. I am crystal clear on business to consumer launches with B2B outreach, toolkits, email, social media, blogs, shows, and scaling. In January, I completed over 15 emails, over 2 blogs, including the top 10 Cyprus I mentioned, 12 podcast episodes, and over 25 social media posts. And that's not counting, you guys, over 50 that were in my drafts and in my Instagram and reels. And that's not counting the incredible AI tool I use to clip videos aligned to SEO, aka search engine optimization. And that's not counting repurpose.io that literally takes my content 10x, 100x. I left Cyprus at the end of the month on January 25th for Egypt. Someone pinch me. This is literally a whole new world I'm living in. Again, I traveled to Egypt after finishing my MBA, and that was one of my gifts from my parents. And I always promised myself I would go back for more reasons than one. This is me keeping that promise to myself. So, if you haven't tuned in the past, I practice what I call 7 steps to success with spiritual, mental, emotional, relational, playful, physical, and financial. And I constantly look at things like that in my life. And I stayed, as far as spiritually, I stayed stable in the Bible, reading up until Second Chronicles now. I'm in the Bible for the third time the straight through. And I often go into different sections or different things. Like right now, with being in Egypt, I've been diving deeper into Genesis again, like with Abram and Sarai when they first go to Egypt and Abram lies, or Joseph in his dreams. And if you haven't, definitely check out my YouTube channel at Limitless Global Girl. I have so many incredible videos on Egypt, on Bible at the beach, and so much more. I mentioned earlier I finished the Inner Child Workbook, Complex PTSD, and Damage Not Destroyed by Pastor Michael Todd. I listened to all his books, Crazy Faith, Relationship Goals, this one, and I love them all and highly recommend them. I started 48 Laws of Power in January, and I did breathwork and EFT, emotional freedom technique. That's also on my blog and on my show. If you're not familiar, definitely check that out as well. Over 15 times. I mentioned earlier the 2000 plus minutes. I stayed consistent with workouts all month with boxing and strength training. I had 2 gyms at my Airbnb, which I loved. And I maintained daily aligned action with Herbalife and food. Financially, I increased focus on you, now, and overflow in January. I dived deep into under earners and debtors anonymous. So, likely you've heard of the 12 steps and Alcoholics Anonymous, which I had absolutely heard of for years. I am doing one of my CPE, continuing professional education courses with Joyce Meyer via the CPA Academy as a CPA. She shared about under earners and debtors anonymous that aligns 100% to the 12 steps and literally submitting and surrendering, taking inventory. I'm on step 5 right now. It's absolutely incredible. If you have ever had trouble with going back and forth between either under earning, devaluing yourself, and or excessively relying on debt, and however that may tie to your family tree or your family line or things you observed with finances at home, I highly recommend both of those sources and going through everything's for free on under earners and our debtors anonymous. You can join meetings for free, etc. Within January, I completed up until step 4. Right now into February, I'm on step 5 already. I started a financial fix workbook by Joyce Meyer, which I love. I completed my financial budget for the month and estimates for 2+ months out, and increased prayer, emotional freedom technique, breath work, etc. On a practical aspect with the outer work, I shared some of earlier what I did with business to business. On top of that, I increased emails to over 15 plus with 30% plus open rates. The podcast has over 29,000 plus downloads. And I did 7 shows ish in January, 30 plus IG reels, 25 plus shorts, and a lot more. I'm focusing on increasing influence and impact while being more of me and doing less, and increasing being while doing less, and or intensifying focus and presence. Like today, for example, as I'm recording this, I was up at 7:30, did my morning routine, hyper focused on 2 to 3 key priorities, and then took a break of about like 2 hours at the pool, journaled, etc., and then came back and focused, took a break for EFT, showers, eating, and then now I'm finishing up the day with recording this episode and one for Valentine's Day and Love is in the Air, because that is tomorrow. and then tuning in for a continuing education class. And then, and I also posted on social several times. So that kind of gives you a gauge of like how things are shifting radically. And I'll talk more about what I'm doing for Valentine's Day on the next episode. So stay tuned for that. That's not all, folks. It's all about being a human being. Mentally to playfully, I fed my soul with prayer, journaling, gym time, and a spa day. Just like I invite you guys to invest, I also invest countlessly and limitlessly. I started and completed Time Genius with Marie Forleo, radically shifting my alignment and action and feeling like more than ever like I'm in college again, because I started remembering how I would intensify my focus on certain days. Like Monday, Fridays, and Saturdays, I worked all day at the credit union. Then Tuesdays, Monday nights, I typically would drive to campus and stay on campus Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays for the most part. Drive back Thursday nights, oftentimes after a party, and then get up for work on Friday mornings. And then Sunday was kind of a catch all day. And miraculously, you guys, I don't ever remember during those 4 to 7+ years, like getting sick at all. Like it was almost like I was unavailable for getting sick, no matter the action, the adventure. I also did not eat great back then. So it's just goes to show like the mental focus. And that's something that I started exploring and allowing again, because I realized how with some hormone shifts, sometimes like there's a day or 2 days or 3 days where I feel off and completely demotivated, although it's much better now than it was a while ago. At the same time, I was being reminded of that. I spent so much time in sunshine exploring Cyprus on my own and with my mom when she visited for about 2 weeks, through North Cyprus, castles, monasteries, beaches, through South Cyprus with the beaches and the Lovers Rock and Aphrodite's Rock and Paphos. It's an incredible, incredible country. And I would definitely maybe want to go back when it's even warmer, because it was about 60s or 70s. However, the water was not so warm like it is here in Egypt. And so I didn't go kite surfing. And I only went, or not only, I went into Konos Beach when the water was pretty shallow. But other than that, it was pretty chilly. And especially when you got out, it would only be like 60. So maybe I will go back at some point. I mentioned some communities earlier. I also participated in Epic Fab Girl with Candice Janae, EFT with Cassandra Bodzak, started her book on meditations and manifesting. I mentioned Time Genius, also want to credit Breathwork with Samantha Skelly, Cash Flow Confidential with Jamie C. That's part of the Wealthy Woman bundle that I purchased on Black Friday. And I'm on module 4 as of now, and Social Curators with Jasmine Starr. And in January, I completed the budget breakdown, Love the Million, up until module 4 of Cash Flow Confidential, or like midway through module 4, and Time Genius. So you can see there was a lot of increase and elevation with energy, alignment, accountability, feeling, and receiving in January. If you haven't yet checked out my Creator to Cash toolkit, you can check that out in the link in the show notes and or via bit.ly/Creator to Cash toolkit. You can check out the course and the information for the course, the VIP experience, and or the workbook at bit.ly/Creator to Cash and or in the link in the show notes, as well as the Creator to CEO retreats. And as I mentioned earlier, don't sleep on my YouTube channel. Shout out to Bold Journey that featured me on a bold journey that I also posted about on my Instagram. And definitely check out, besides the Creator to Cash toolkits and Creators Go Global, the community, check out the 75 plus tips, tools, and tech. And as always, remember, create, transform, and inspire. You are born to. Please leave a review on the show so I can shout you out. And that's how more people find out about the show as well, so that more creators to CEOs who crave creating community and cash create it like a boss.
and chats on faith, wellness, money, marketing, business, and travel so you create a life and business you already. Head on over to the blog, the podcast, and the freebies to jumpstart your transformation. If you're ready to dive into the online courses, the live events, or the retreat, and if you want to create with our community on an even deeper level, definitely check out our internships, our influencer collaborations, management, and brand engagements. Let's create it.